Yeah, I'm Santi. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Santiago Group. We started as an incubator of brands and eventually became an aggregator of brands that sell primarily, I'd say over 99% of our sales come from Amazon. We started in our college dorm back in 2016, and we've grown we've grown as a bootstrap company to a nine-figure selling company as of this year. All in the shoulder of Amazon. We're pretty agnostic to which categories we focus on, but there's a few verticals that we like the most. We started actually in back pain and orthopedics, but today we focus primarily on pet consumables and on skincare. I've been working with SellersFi for almost as long as I've been running this business. I would say probably over 5 years. I met Ricardo through a mutual friend that referred me to SellersFi back when our business was not even profitable. And I had a lot of connections in the space, so I helped introduce other sellers to SellersFi and saw how good of a job they did and how flexible their financing terms were. So as soon as my revenue became somewhat meaningful, I knocked on the door and I started working with SellersFi. I think my first loan with SellersFi was perhaps 3-4 years ago. There's been multiple use cases, but I'd say the primary use of funds has been to finance inventory. I think we Amazon sellers I think every e-commerce seller in general has a very particular condition where the more you grow, the more capital it takes to sustain those sales, because you have to buy today the inventory that you're going to sell in 3 to 6 months. So there's actually a really good quote from Shoe Dog that you're doing better, but your business is actually requiring more capital, and scaling up, they call this growing broke. So this is a very, very real problem that all of us e-commerce sellers face. Because of the nature of Amazon, things happen so quickly and you grow so quickly that the traditional financing industry doesn't understand that quite at the speed that it needs to. So by doing well, you can actually put your business in a bad spot. So we went to SellersFi, and SellersFi was really quick at understanding how our business was growing, and they allowed us to get financing that we use primarily for inventory, but then allowed us to maintain appropriate stock levels and not run out of stock and sustain the growth of sales that we were facing. And still to this day, we use a lot of the funding primarily for inventory. We've now used the money for other things, like we funded some of the cash flows for the acquisitions that we've had, but SellersFi has been able to adapt to the different situations. But inventory is sort of such a core problem of us e-commerce sellers that the SellersFi targeted. It's been a phenomenal partnership, and I would say it's people that really understand the business inside out. They could be sellers themselves. It's been very personal. I've always had somebody that I can speak to directly. As an international person, I like to use WhatsApp, and they have a really good WhatsApp communication, oftentimes responding within minutes. So it's been quite seamless. The way that we draw the loans, the way the loans are paid back is all seamless, and it happens directly with our bank accounts. But most importantly, it's just flexible. People understand the business, they understand what's going on. We've even faced some suspensions across some of our accounts, and SellersFi has always understood that, and they've been totally flexible and saying, okay, this is a temporary thing, you're going to be able to solve it, and they've had our backs. So I think that's something that we don't take for granted, and certainly something that the traditional financing industry would not understand. Yeah, so the initial onboarding, I would describe it as very self-service and straightforward. Although I did feel that there was always somebody there for us throughout the process. But we wanted, I think we logged into the website. It asked us for some information about our business. We filled that in. I really appreciate when it verifies the information. So for example, if I typed an EIN wrong, it would know that I typed it wrong. So that would allow, make sure when I click submit, I'm submitting something that is fully accurate. Once you create that profile, the Sellers Fi platform is already connected to your store. So as your store improves in sales and grows, then the availability of capital changes. So the drawdown is actually the easiest process. You click on a button and then the money just shows up in your account. That's how I describe it. At the end of the day, it's large amounts of money you're moving. It's your real business. It's your baby. I always had somebody on WhatsApp that if something were to go wrong, I felt that I could reach out to. I've worked with other lenders outside of Sellers Fi for totally different purposes, mostly for acquisitions of brands. I would say Sellers Fi represents more than 90% of our inventory financing and our Amazon related financing today. So, when you're underwriting a loan, you have to underwrite, how the business is going to perform over time to ensure that there's a collateral for this loan, right? And when you go to a bank doesn't really understand what Amazon is. So they see this as this black box and they can't really predict future cash flows. And when you buy an inventory, it's really important to know that you're going to be able to sell that inventory to pay your loan back. So it's really key in the underwriting process that you understand what the business that you're lending to does, what it takes to succeed, and what it takes to have a recurring cash flow over time. And usually the people affected by that lack of understanding is not the bank, it's the seller itself, because we are the ones who can't access financing. When I knocked on Bank of America's door and I was in my dorm room, although we were making millions of dollars a month, they would not lend us any money because we didn't have 3 years of tax returns. And I was like, that is such a silly thing to do. Like, we have products that thousands of people are reviewing and are loving and are coming back. Amazon, we have a good spend strategy on Amazon. Amazon is ranking our products because our customers are happy and it's doing a good customer experience. That is valuable, that it's worth a lot. And I have a big problem that if I can't buy for inventory today, I can't pay for inventory today, then I won't be able to satisfy those customers in 3 months. So how come that is not a perfect scenario for a bank or for a financing partner to add value? So it's really important for us. It was really important that Sellers Fi understood the business from our perspective, from a seller. What does it take to succeed? Because it allowed them to give us money when nobody else would. So for us, it's a huge loss of momentum when you can't really when you can't really supply the inventory that you need for your customers. And again, because you're buying the inventory today that you need to sell in 3 to 6 months, if you don't have the financing available now, if somebody doesn't understand your business and says, I know that if I give you $1 today, you're going to put that in inventory that's going to yield a return, then essentially you lose the customer. You're shooting yourself in the foot by growing. And if you actually look at the cost profile of an Amazon seller, most expenses come in the back end. So the fulfillment fee, Amazon only charges that after the item is fulfilled. You don't have to pay for the building of the warehouse. You don't have to pay for the building of the trucks coming in. You pay that at the very end with a fulfillment fee. The commission comes at the very end. Everything comes at the very end except your expense to buy the inventory. And that's the one big gap that Amazon hasn't been able to cover. And I think that's where Sellers Fi came in and added tons of value for us early days.